It's on. Welcome.
I'm Maddy.
And I am Ryan. I like how we were like barely talking 2 seconds ago. We opened this by screaming.
I know. Well, you know, we always got to start with like 5 minutes of complaining, 5 minutes of just groaning in pain.
Well, I think we cut it short for everyone else, essentially.
Yeah, I know. This is like the least prepared that I've ever been for an Insomniacs. I like super don't. I don't know. And I think I say that every week. I think every week I'm like, this week was really bad.
You're like, this week I was not ready at all.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready, Ryan. I'm not ready at all. I don't know. I don't think I did anything this week. We had like a million band practices. I have nothing going on in my life besides that right now.
No, you and I are like in the same boat. We just start working on all our shit. So,
I know. So
we have no Gino news though.
I haven't watched any TV. I haven't played any video games. You know, like I have nothing. I got nothing going on.
All right, well, that was a good show, guys. See you next week.
Concert though, so you're lying. that you did. So
oh my god. All right. Yeah, so on Saturday, I was at home and I just happened to be looking at the Real Big Fish website, which is like a ska punk band from the 90s that I still fucking love.
Wow. Okay. It didn't even occur to me that there were people who wouldn't know what that band is.
I mean,
like as soon as you explained it, I was like, oh no.
They originally got repopular again like a couple years ago, maybe back in 2012.
So popular with everyone I knew at the time.
I know, and it was like Real Big Fish and Goldfinger and Less Than Jake and Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Back in the 90s, man, we were like really into all that. Ska's like not a big thing anymore. So like when I went to see the show, it was like all people my age, also dressed like I normally do, which is like all black and like colored hair. So you know,
like a studded belt, which is a classic Ryan look.
Yep.
Awesome.
Well,
all having haircuts like I have, where it's like long on one side, except this part's probably shaved.
All buzzed out. No, that there's a lot of tropical button downs happening. But yeah, so I was looking at the website and they had announced that they were doing a show at Mohegan Sun, which is the casino that's about like 40 minutes away. And it was a free show. And I was like, I'm like subscribed to all their stuff. And I hadn't seen that on their tour date. So they must have like just recently announced it. So I was trying to get anybody to go with me because I like found out like 3 hours before the show started. And I was like, well, I'm going to fucking go because it's a free show of this band that I've been trying to see for like 10 years. So like, because every single time they come through,
I wanted to see them when I was a kid. I was like, they were at Warped Tour, which remember when that was something that was actually cool and had current fans.
They're at Warped Tour again this year.
I believe you because Warped Tour now still exists, but it's like a weird configuration of bands that are like from the time period when Warped Tour was cool, but also like new bands that super aren't.
Apparently, a lot of people still go to Warped Tour.
Sure, it's just like a pop music festival now. It's not like the hip. Do you know what I mean? Like it's very different, and that's fine. It's just that if you were going to go to an alternative musical festival now, it's probably like some cool shit that you and I have never heard of. I'm sure there's like a legitimate one.
Yeah, no, of course.
Tell us what it is, teenagers.
I mean, the Warped Tour is like only $40 now, so that sort of says everything about it.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I could finally go and be like, I guess this is what I was missing when I was.
Yep. And what was I going to say about that? Yeah, I've been trying to see them for like 10 years, and like not because they haven't been around. It's just like every single time they've been on a tour around here, I've had something else going on. So it's been really weird that I haven't been able to catch them, and I was able to catch them for free. And they do a great show live. Like they have the same high energy that they did like 15 years ago.
I mean, as far as you know, you didn't see them. So.
No, but I mean, like, you know, in terms of like doing a live performance and being like jumping out, they like literally appeared on stage. I don't know how they got there because I know where the entrance to the stage is there, and like they literally just like jumped out of it from like 20 feet and just like appeared and started dancing,
hiding behind their amplifiers for like 4 hours.
Okay, that's only something you and I would do.
I know.
We put on a
it's
show.
Also like something a lot of people would do. It's entirely possible that happened. like everybody who does performance for a living is actually a huge nerd. Like, I don't know.
I mean, there was some show that you and I did. I'm trying to remember which one it was, where we like had to hide behind like no. You know
Batman.
what?
It was Batman.
It was Batman, and we weren't hiding. We were inside a TARDIS, and I was inside of a TARDIS for like at least like 45 minutes waiting for the show to start.
About this. So at Kineticon, Ryan and I did a Batman musical where he was the Joker and I was Catwoman, and some of our other friends were Harley Quinn and Batman and Two-Face. And at the beginning of the show, all of the villains besides me were hiding in the TARDIS, and we were gonna like surprise Batman by popping out of it, which is like a funny bit, but like we hadn't really had a good way to rehearse it ahead of time. So like I went on stage as Catwoman and I was like, okay, like something implying the Joker's gonna come out. I don't remember what mine was. I think it was like, you can come out now. And you did not hear me. And so you just stayed in the TARDIS for what felt to me like an eternity because it was on stage.
And
so
you were alone on stage.
I don't know what I actually did. I think I just kept saying different stuff and then like sort of started walking off stage like, I guess I'll go physically get them. I don't know. Like
yeah, but you didn't end up doing that because
remember what I did? Did you just come out? How did you even figure it out?
I figured it out because I was like, guys, I think that's our cue, because it was silent for a really long time. So then we ran out. Instead of going on stage, we didn't tell you we were going to do this, but we decided to run through the audience first too. So you didn't see us running through the audience.
Doing that. But I heard cheering, so I stopped worrying at that point.
Okay. Yeah,
like as soon as people started cheering, I was like, they're coming out. I'm fine. I can stay in here. No one's looking at me anymore, but I can just
Maddy just slowly walks off stage.
Well, I was Catwoman, so I had to like look very sultry because it was all Adam West, which was what made it fun, was that we were all doing the Adam West costumes. I loved those costumes.
I did too. That was a fun show we did.
Really
there's been a lot of shows that have involved but there's been a lot of shows where that has involved at least one of our cast members having to hide on stage until the show starts. Like there was a time when you had to be like a robot, like turned off on stage for a really long time.
Oh my god, yeah. What?
And there was
my god.
There was also that time that Rain had to like hide in a box for a really long time, and then there was like another time.
There was another time when Halden had to hide in a box as a puppet.
And come
out. That happened. Why do we keep doing that to people?
There was also Lindsay who had to hide behind a wall like for a really long time.
Ryan, like all of these situations were your idea. So anyway, the point is that Less Than Jake hid behind their amplifiers because Brian Pagella was the creative
was not there.
director.
It was Real Big Fish. Get your shit together.
Whatever. They're all the same to me because I'm not cool anymore.
Yeah, so it was a fun show, and I like anybody that comes out and has that level of energy and can perform. I mean, these are people that have been like performing for like 20 years and like they're playing the same song. So like,
oh well, yeah.
You think they would get bored, but like you don't.
If they do, it doesn't show. I mean, there are definitely times when bands do get bored. Like I haven't seen them, but I've heard that if you go see Smashing Pumpkins now, they like really don't seem into it. Yeah. And I'm sympathetic to that because like how many times have they played 1979 in their lives? Like a bajillion. but like I don't know, that's kind of heartbreaking because it's really important to people. And I feel like if I were still playing the same songs, which I don't know, in a remote dreamland,
I mean, you can let me know.
Happen, maybe in 40 years people will be like, can you play Meditation again? I don't know. So I would do it and I would just pretend to be having a good time because I'm an actor. But I know that not everybody can do that. And it's really, really cool to see a band that like is willing to perform for you in that way because it takes work, but it's also like really cool to see that kind of skill.
Yeah. And it's like, as long as you enjoy what you're doing, I can't imagine that you're gonna burn out on it.
If you don't enjoy it, then quit. Just lots of bands break up in their old age. It's fine. Just stop touring.
I think they just actually love doing it, which is great. And like I understand it because you and I did Kineticon for 8 years, and we ran 8 shows. We actually ran like
a lot on this show.
We're gonna stop here, but in general, you and I we realized yesterday where we produced like over 60 shows together like in the past 10 years, which is crazy. Number one,
it's amazing and sad, but amazing. Sad only because no one saw those shows.
But like in things like, remember when we ran,
one was rad, and there's not like a very good video of it, which is always really sad.
But I think like towards the end we did sort of burn out a little because we ran out of ideas, and like it's not to say that we didn't have the energy anymore, but it was sort of like, okay, how many times can we still use this formula?
That is like, not how I would describe that.
Okay, I didn't run out.
I would say we still had a lot of ideas, and now those ideas are on this channel. That's what I would say.
I agree with that. But anyway, it was a good, I'm not complaining. It was actually a good
we're out of ideas. Great point, Ryan.
Anyway, thanks for watching, guys.
I don't know. Ryan's out of ideas, but I'm not, so don't worry about it, guys. I'm on it.
I'm trying to think about anything else I've been doing this past week. I mean, I have not seen Batman versus Superman, but we may see it today.
You might have to.
Ben really wants to see it.
The curiosity is overtaking Ben.
I know. It's like
I'm like kind of sympathetic because like so many people I know have actually dragged themselves to see it and have opinions on it, and I'm like, well, now I want to know if I don't know. I just don't want to pay $12 and like probably go by myself because Zach has been refusing to see it for like a year.
No, people have been saying like just pay to go see Zootopia and then sneak into Batman v Superman.
Yeah, people told us to do that for this show, and I was like, all right, well, I guess people really want us to take the bullet for them and see this shitty movie. They probably do.
I think by next week you'll have a review for at least one of us. So.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't think I'm gonna go because I don't want to go by myself, and Zach is not gonna go. So unless somebody locally, strangers don't email me. Don't
strangers don't tweet about it. It needs to be
somebody I actually know. Sorry. Somebody I actually know wants to see it locally. Let me know.
I don't know. Maybe you want to go see it with
maybe I just want to go see it with like 12 men from Twitter.
I think that's maybe a terrible idea.
That sounds fun, right?
That even just doesn't even sound like a good joke. You're fired.
It's not a good joke because that happens and people like don't realize that it's inappropriate. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Don't email me.
Ever.
So do we want to do workout tip?
Yeah, I don't have really much else to say.
Do you want to talk about Sonic Runners? I don't know what this is.
I guess I could talk about it real quick. It's a mobile app game, and I've been playing Sonic Dash, which is sort of just another Temple Run clone, but I know that they had released this game called Sonic Runners, which is a side-scrolling platform type of Sonic game where you don't control like how fast you're going, but you do all the jumping. But you know, it had been released
I played this like in a GameStop on an iPad once, or at least I played like one of the variations.
Yeah, probably, but they had released it like in other countries way before it came here, as usual. So like,
yeah, sure.
I finally came here and I downloaded it about a week ago, and I'm like super addicted to it because you just brand Sonic on something and I'll buy it.
They made a Rayman game for the iPhone that was similar to that.
Yeah, I saw that, but I haven't played it yet.
I played it for a really long time, but then it just got harder and harder and harder to the point where it wasn't fun. So I like dropped off like halfway through. But it was really fun for like the first half of the game, and then it was unplayable. So I don't know if I would recommend it or not.
That's the problem with the mobile games, is that they just keep on getting more difficult to the point where you're like, I really am not having fun with this anymore. So I'm just gonna uninstall this. But at least in Sonic Runners, I can unlock a bunch of characters from the games, and that usually is an appeal to me in any kind of game, is the number of characters I can unlock. Which is stupid because they're all just clones of each other, but like for some reason I'm really into that, and that's been a theme of mine like since I was a child. So
that's just like, you know, human instinct. You're like, I gotta get all the things.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fun. Eventually I'm gonna get bored of it and just uninstall it, but right now I'm having fun with it.
You'll probably beat it first. You'll probably beat it once, and like that'll be how that game's lifespan goes for most people.
Excuse me, I need water.
Get all the characters, and that's all you do. You have all the characters, and now you literally never need to return to the game again.
Pretty much.
Unfortunately, that's how I am with Kirby games. Like, I unlock absolutely everything, and then I'm like, that's it, I guess.
I mean, that's how it is with any Nintendo game. And then, like, I'll go back and play it again like 2 years later or something like that, because Nintendo
I
games,
don't even really do that. I wish I said I did that.
No, I will, but only because like Nintendo games do have good replay value, but not like immediately. You have to give it a couple years, and
yeah, so you
they're
forget everything,
right. But they also still use the same formula where they're like really short and fast. So that's kind of the great thing about Nintendo games, is that like I can actually finish it in under 10 hours and like move on with my life, which is not what you can say about like 90% of other games now. So
God, yeah, which is why I just don't even care.
I know.
I'm like, do I really want to spend 300 hours for like maybe 10 hours of which is fun? No, I don't.
No, you don't. I mean, like, if it's a really good game, sure. And if you're planning on sinking that time in it, like a MMO or like Elder Scrolls or something, then sure. But like,
free time anymore. The only game that I've played like all month is Street Fighter V, and that's
which I've not played yet, and I really want
play
to.
A few matches. I really like Fang, by the way. I
haven't played. I don't even know. Like
angry when they announced Fang, because I was like, why is there this flamboyant? Like, is he supposed to be a joke character? Because I don't know. I like couldn't tell if they were making fun of him, and that made me mad. But then I actually played as him, and he's hilarious, and his moves are awesome. So I'm like, all right, he's the silliest, goofiest character, and I like him. So I guess I'm playing as Fang. He throws poison at people, and it takes away their health, which is like it continually drains their health until they hit you. So you know what I mean? Like that's like a mechanic that has never appeared before. So it's like a unique mechanic where you're getting poisoned and your health is going down like constantly.
That's a neat trick there.
It is neat. It's awesome, because as long as you hit somebody with poison and then you like play the evade game for a few minutes, they and you're like, ha! You have to sit down and not let them hit you. Anyway, Fang's cool. That's it. That's all. That's my video game news, I guess. Workout tips.
I know we like randomly like wound up over there for a second, but yes.
That's the only video game I intend to play for the next 12 years.
First of all, Ben wanted me to say that he has a workout tip, which is that if it doesn't hurt, then you're doing it wrong because you're not building enough muscle. That was it.
It is true that it has to hurt a little bit.
But I think we sort of like, I was going to say last week, what was it last week? Marilyn made fun of us.
We were like, if it feels like an injury.
I mean, I was like, if it feels like something's ripping, go to a hospital. Marilyn's like, thanks, guys.
Ben is also right that if you work out and you're like, not like your muscles don't feel slightly sore. Yeah. Like in a good way. Like if you work out enough that you'll sort of understand like good sore and bad sore. But you have to feel the good sore or you're actually not building any muscle, because you're breaking the muscle tissue a little bit in order to rebuild it. Like that's how muscle is built. It's weird.
And you have to do a lot of stretches.
Hurting yourself in order to heal yourself.
Pretty much.
Become stronger.
Like She-Hulk.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm still reading those, by the way. I don't have any new updates on it, except that Hawkeye did get married to Mockingbird.
Oh. Okay. Well, so I'm just gonna let you keep reading on that one.
That's a fun update on 1965 era. Like, what am I? I'm like so behind. I mean, I already know she's gonna leave, because why would anyone stay?
No, it's like it was back when they like had to make do things with their names. So To Kill a Mockingbird, to say the least. So.
Yep. You know what I thought you were gonna say? It was back when characters had to get married in order for them to be together, because that's definitely true.
I mean, like, well, yeah, that was like 45 years ago.
Like, oh, right, it's the 60s. Like people were still getting married; they couldn't just fuck each other. Like,
I know that's actually like a new concept within like the past 10 years, which people don't really realize. But anyway, today's workout tip is pull-ups.
Yeah. Tell me about pull-ups, Ryan. Do you want me to like recommend the pull-up bar that I have, and then we can both have pull-ups be our workout tip?
Double pull-up thing, because we realized we've never talked about them.
Yeah, I think we've talked about them in passing, but I definitely like have a cool pull-up bar to recommend to people, because you can install it in a doorway.
Yeah, that's what we have. But you have a cooler one, because mine's only like one singular bar. Yours has like multiple bars and things you can do arm curls on.
Do different sizes. I'm like going back and looking up the brand. So I don't know if you like have a specific pull-up that you do. But since my bar
do a
lets
regular
you do,
one,
like,
because that's already hard enough for me.
Wide, narrow, and then there's another one that's like this kind. I don't know if you can even see me doing that.
No, I can't. But like the ones I do are just very straightforward. You put your hands like straight on there, and then lift yourself up. Sometimes I'll do it the other way when you flip them around, but it's like honestly, you can only do a couple.
Right,
then
the
I have to stop.
one.
If you're doing a pull up right, it's like really hard. Let me put it that way, because if you're doing it wrong, you're probably like,
I can't.
I can do 15 of them really easily, and it's like, okay, you're not doing it right because you have to be literally pulling up your entire body weight. So it's not easy.
I can't actually do a pull-up, to be honest. So what I do is, have I talked about this before? I thought I had.
I think maybe you told me in passing, or the listeners can let us know and be like, stop talking about this, Maddy.
Like, you already told us this, but whatever.
They're like, why do you guys like get on here and complain about not being able to wake up and then tell us the same workout tips?
That would be completely fair if people said that. So basically you put a chair underneath the pull-up thing, and you just put like one toe on the chair and just like help it nudge you up a little bit, and you try to mostly use your body to pull yourself up, but you just use your toe to nudge it.
Well, that makes sense for you because you're pretty short. So
well, also I'm not strong enough to do a pull-up, so
no, but
it doesn't really have to do with height. It actually just has to do with the fact that I'm not strong enough to do it on my own. But also the other thing, and Zach told me this, is that if you're just hanging there, you're actually still building muscle.
Yeah, that also stretches out your muscles too. So like, you know, if you
know that, so that was cool to learn, like all the times when I'm just hanging there.
So like if you have like a sore back or something for whatever reason, you can kind of just hang on the bar, and that actually stretches out your back muscles to make you feel better, which I did not know. Ben had to teach me that one, because my trick for that has always been like lying down on a wood floor, and that usually helps. So
yeah, I mean, there's different things you can do. I can't friggin' figure out where I even bought this pull-up bar. I cannot find it.
All right,
I really thought that I bought it on Amazon.
Maddy has a pull-up bar that has like 3 settings on it, essentially.
Well, it rules.
I think it actually is pretty standard now for pull-up bars, because ours is pretty old. So like, you know, like ours is just one bar, where I think normal doorway pull-up bars normally have like the one bar and then the second bar and then a curling bar.
I found it. Okay, it's called the Perfect Fitness Multi-Gym, and it's only $30 on Amazon.
Who names gym equipment?
It's terrible. Like that.
They all sound like 90s cliches.
They sound like the same thing over and over. Like, how are you going to remember perfect?
Well, they all sound like something that would be featured in a Ninja Turtles episode. So I mean,
interesting segue, Ryan.
We're not going there yet.
Oh, okay, fine. All right, we're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles later on this show. That's a teaser. Anyway, the Perfect Fitness Multi-Gym is rad, and if you look at a picture of it, you'll understand like what Ryan means about the multiple settings. Right. And you put it into a doorway. There's a picture of a guy with it in a doorway on the Amazon page, so people will understand. You do need to have a doorway that's like the right size. So check that before you buy it.
Don't put it in like a freaking loading dock. I don't know, like what?
I mean, like my parents' house doesn't have the right kind of doorways for it. This is why my mom wanted one and she couldn't get one. They don't have a doorway where
I'm trying to envision what's different about your parents' house that's different from your apartment, and I can't.
The doorways are wider and they don't really have molding on them the way that mine do. Like the way that this is set up is that it kind of balances on the molding of the door, like the frame.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
hooks onto the frame. So if you have doors that don't have door frames, then this isn't going to work.
I see.
And it's not going to be obvious why that is until you look at a picture of it, because I can't explain it. Sorry.
Yeah, if you don't have a doorway with door frames, you can get the one I have, which is a standard. You pull it out, put it in the thing, and then you nail it in there, and it just is in the doorway for any extension that you need it for.
My mom can get that one because I think that's like what she wants. She wants to pull.
Your mom, who's a vampire and like in her 50s and looks like she's 35.
Yeah.
It has the energy of like a 25-year-old.
Yeah, I think my mom listens to this show. Hi, Mom. I don't know if she listens. She mentioned it the other day, which was really nice.
It would be funny if she like, Mom. I hope she like references it later. She's like, remember that time you guys called me a vampire?
I I don't know if she knows that I call her that. It's a compliment, Mom.
It
You
is a
look
compliment.
great.
I mean, definitely for me, because you know how I'm like aesthetically pleased with vampires at all times. So
Oh yeah, it's definitely a compliment from Ryan. Do we both do pull-ups as a workout tip? I guess I'll just put pull-ups
yeah,
for
that's
mine.
fine.
Show notes.
Yay! All right. Time for morning news. I like how we're zipping through this. I don't know. I always feel like when we do these
We're
shows,
doing
I'm
a
like,
good job. You know,
I'm always like, are we doing a bad job? And then I listen
we
to it,
are.
I'm like,
I mean, we
sound
are
fine. And like,
we're
but
either
in the
doing
moment,
a horrible job or a great job. It's impossible to say. I actually think we do better when we're more tired. And since I essentially didn't sleep at all, that means I'm like killing it today.
Because you were like definitely like messaging me at 1 a.m. and then like early this morning you're like, I was like, well, Maddy didn't sleep, so
I don't know. I always wake up feeling like that.
I mean, well, what was it? You signed in, and I was like, you're like, time to
signed
start,
in,
and I was like,
People don't even see all of that.
I know. Well, they used to until we learned how to like start the broadcast after we cried for a while.
Have like 30 minutes of us
First, we had to like
sitting here drinking coffee. Like,
you know, it's not silent. There's like tears and us crying about being alive and awake. No, okay, I don't know.
Yeah, but we cut all that out now, so nobody knows that happened. Okay. So
my god.
Now that we've wasted 5 minutes, tell me about Miitomo, which is the thing everyone I know is obsessed with.
Oh my god.
I will never play because I'm not. I just don't.
I mean, by the time this week ends, it's going to be a thing of the past because in all honesty, it's not as interesting as we're all making it out to be.
To be honest, it doesn't seem that interesting.
It's just addicting right now in the moment. But the thing is that people are going to fall off the boat and then it's not going to work anymore because the whole concept of the game is like, there's two things you do in this entire thing. It's basically like LiveJournal with me's. And it's like,
I like LiveJournal though.
I do too, but it's like LiveJournal in the sense that back then we would always take a bunch of stupid surveys and answer questions, and like that's literally all you're doing is you're answering questions, and then people can leave comments or like your thing, and then you can also dress up your me. So the only exciting part about that is that every day they release more skins and clothes that you can get for the day and dress your me up. So right now it's a lot of fun because I have like 20 to 30 people that I'm playing with right now, but like in a week when nobody's playing it anymore, like I'm not going to be updating it for myself, and I'm sure as hell not going to be checking in to change my me outfit.
Well, yeah, and like, isn't the point of it to kind of see what everybody else is saying? Like, it's kind of like social media, right?
Right.
Like,
but it's like that's the thing. That's like people are going to fall off of this real fast because I mean it's only exciting right now in the moment, and then people have already started to leave. And here's a big reason why. And Gita touched on this on her Twitter, and I completely agree with it. Is that she like removed it because it's such a memory suck and it's a battery suck even in power saving mode, and it's like, which doesn't make any sense because it's just a game where you dress up an avatar and answer questions. So it's like, what kind of memory does it need here?
Yeah, that seems like it shouldn't be a huge memory suck at all. Like,
right, but she's like
surveys.
She was like listening to a podcast and playing Miitomo, and it kept crashing, and she was like, "This is terrible." And it really is. It's like it freezes for me a lot too because it's taking up so much memory. But like, it's also your phone. You're running a bunch of other programs on your phone already, and especially if you're somebody like us who has to utilize this social media on a regular basis, you have all that running in the background too. So
yeah, I have to for work, or at least I have to have the work one. Yeah, exactly. All the time. I know people just would think that that's not a real thing, but it is.
Right, and it's like. I feel bad because, Miitomo is cute and fun, but it's like, it's really just sort of like an add-on to what should be like another game, I guess, because
it kind of seems like it would need more stuff.
I mean, maybe they plan on putting more in there, but it's Nintendo and we know how slow they are. So they're just going to miss the boat on this one.
That doesn't actually sound like enough of anything,
right?
Like, how many surveys and outfits can you put? I guess that's my whole life is just
clearly. I mean, back in LiveJournal days,
judgmental. I mean, that's literally all I do every single day. I wake up and I'm like, let me at the surveys.
I mean, it's also like Tamagotchi in the way, like back when we were kids, we were like, we'd be checking our Tamagotchis, and that's sort of what it's like right now.
Also was a phase. Like everybody had a Tamagotchi, and then
but it was like
took the battery out and was like, goodbye.
along with Furby. Like, you know, it's just it's one of those phases, and I'm sure this is something that, like, in a decade from now, when people look back at like 2016 nostalgically, they'll be like, remember Miitomo? And everyone will be like, let's all get it again. And like, you know.
Yeah, maybe. That would be really funny, actually. Like, you know what hasn't happened? People have not been like, let's play Tamagotchi again, because it turned out that it was actually terrible and stressful.
There was a period of time where it did come back, because it was like a few years ago when they
was
made
it like on iPhones that
yes,
they did it?
And so everybody got super into like the smartphone edition of Tamagotchi for like a couple weeks. It's like again, it's like everything moves in a quick phase. So it's sort of like, how much am I going to spend time caring about this? And so Miitomo
like,
is
as a company, you have to be like, how much money can I make off of this idea in 1 week? Because that's all I have, and then that's it. And then I'm gonna have to come up with something else. Like, smartphone developers are like thinking in that way, and that's really weird.
I mean, it is weird, but they have their market down, so you can't really be like I can't insult smartphone.
I'm not insulting them. I just feel bad because I'm like, surely there's a long-term game that could be played on a smartphone that's like good.
Probably, but they're not there yet. And also, the smartphones don't have the capacity to do that yet. So
well, you're right, as evidenced by Miitomo. Like, it isn't a complicated game, but apparently it's still not. It's still too high-powered for what an iPhone can do or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much, which is weird. I mean, anyway, it's fun right now because I'm playing it with friends, but like, that's gonna pass. They're all gonna fall off the wagon, and then like
actually ask you next week and be like, "Are you still playing this?"
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think you should do that, and I could be like, "Here's the update."
It'll be really funny if you're the one who keeps playing it, and it's just like a wasteland, and it's Ryan changing his outfits. That sounds like something that could happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're still using Snapchat, and I uninstalled that long ago. But Snapchat is having like a second wind these days.
Well, like, Snapchat is being used in a totally different way than what it was like 3 years ago.
Before it was like sexts and stuff.
Now, no, Snapchat is like also sort of like a weird like. This is funny that I'm talking about this because I just posted that Snapchat compilation of my own snaps, but like it's also like this weird thing where people are also sort of getting famous from their Snapchat adventures, which I'm not doing. I don't really care.
It's kind of like Vine, you know?
Yeah, it's become one of those kind of social media platforms, which is fine. I don't mind that. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no dick pics, so I don't really care.
Every other social media platform where people are getting famous for like telling funny jokes, you know?
Right.
Like, it's the same thing. So why isn't Ryan famous?
I don't know. His
snaps are really funny. You should watch the compilation if you want.
I don't know. I mean, like, I think if anybody actually subscribed to be like, wow, this shit is like manic all the time. We're not interested.
Which is why even I unsubscribed, and I love you. I was like, I can't watch all of these, is what it was. I just there were too many, and I was like, I don't have time to watch these.
Well, also back then there wasn't the My Story option, so like I would have to send them to people.
Yeah, you would just send them to everybody every single time because there wasn't.
Oh my god! There was one time I was teaching Marielle on Snapchat. She kept on being like, "Where's My Story? I can't find it." I'm like, "All right, you need to go to your friends, and then you have to click on My Story. It's at the top." And she kept on being like, "Where?" Is
she gonna be mad that you just said?
I hope not. Marilyn and I both have ridiculous adventures.
You're very smart and you're great at technology.
Yeah, Marilyn's actually normally the smart one. I'm usually the one like tripping over things in the background.
This story. I'm like, what? Really? You know what? I'll install it later or reinstall it. I actually think I might still be subscribed to you. It's just that you were the only person who ever sent me anything on there, and it was like 20 things a day.
Oh my god!
Like, all right, so Snapchat is just the Ryan app. And I think I'm gonna uninstall it. I'll reinstall it and maybe I'll like check it out.
Yeah, no, go for it. Also, go for checking out my Snapchat compilation on Atomic Blue. Haha.
Yeah, people should do that instead of subscribing to Ryan's Snapchat.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, like that way you just get like the 5-minute version of it, and like you won't see one for like another 2 months. So
also the compilations is like a best of. It's like the funny ones.
Yeah.
Right? It's not all of them, because if you did all of them, it would
be boring as fuck. And I don't save all of them because I don't have space to save all those fucking videos. So
yeah, so you just save the good ones and then you put them into the compilation and they're funny.
Pretty much.
Anyway, people can check that out. It's like Ryan knocking over a bunch of books and
that was your favorite part.
I liked that part a lot.
You're like, this is like the Ryan I've known since like he was 13. Anyway, so Star Wars came out on Blu-ray, or like
everybody should buy it.
Oh, actually, I think it just came out.
Show where we advertise shit.
Wait, it came out yesterday or today? I'm not actually sure. And
it's out. I don't
know.
The
digital version came out like days beforehand, which was weird, but I know exactly what they were doing.
What happened was that it went up on torrent sites very quickly. And then I think they responded to that by being like, what if you buy it? You want to buy it?
I mean, that's maybe, but my theory is also sort of like they know people were like, oh, it's available for digital download, but I want to play a Blu-ray, but I guess I could just buy it now. And then they end up buying both, so they make double the profit. So
that might be it, but I think it was a response to the torrent thing for real, because like
probably
a lot of people torrented it. It got
leaked, it was a good fucking movie. Like, I mean,
oh hell yeah! I mean, everybody wanted to watch it again and again and again and again and
like,
again.
Like, I like how they were worried about the torrent thing, but everybody already paid to see the movie multiple times individually. Like,
Star Wars is gonna be just fine.
You know, and rewatching it, even on like a home Blu-ray copy, it's sort of like it still holds up. The cinematography is so good, and like every single time I watch it, I'm like, the cinematography is so good.
It's like a pleasant watch. Like, just
and like sometimes the writing goes in and out of being good, but like what I noticed this time that I hadn't noticed other times around is that Rey doesn't have a speaking line for her first 2 minutes on screen, but you learn like 40,000 things about her without her saying anything, which is actually really clever.
Well, because she lives alone, so why would she be talking to anybody? But they show you what her life is like. It's
right.
Awesome.
I mean, stereotypically, people will write scenes where like the character's talking to themselves. They're like, well, I guess I'm just going to eat this thing by myself. Like,
I hate that. That's like a pet peeve of mine. And it happens in video games all the time too. And every time it happens, I'm like, shut up. I mean, because you can actually tell a better story by just showing somebody walking around.
Yeah, exactly. And it's much more subtle and more clever when the writing is done it and then that way where they make use of make use of like what's going to be like especially writing a script, knowing that you have props and things to work with instead of just dialogue, you know?
Yep.
Props and puppets.
Obsessed with props and putting people in boxes. That's another thing about our shows.
Going back to that again.
Writing in a million props. It's just funny.
And puppets. I keep on bringing puppets back, even though I don't want to make them.
You like Star Wars is because Star Wars is just a bunch of props and puppets and then like actors hiding in boxes. Like, this is a great show.
Okay, wait. Speaking of puppets and robots and things, that Scarlett Johansson thing you posted about that robot ScarJo is like, it's like the thing of Bubblegum Crisis. That's exactly what it is. Have you seen Bubblegum Crisis?
I was thinking of like
Terminator,
which you haven't seen, and I did think about Terminator as well because I was like, Terminator is such a reflection of like the kinds of robots that we would make. Like, if you make a robot and then you treat it like shit, are you really going to be surprised when it turns on you and tries to kill you? Like, how about if you design a robot that would actually want to hang out with us and also you want to hang out with it?
Yeah.
That's like radical for some reason. Instead, we're like, no, we're going to immediately make robots just, you know, servants and like we're going to treat them horribly.
Okay, that's what Bubblegum Crisis is about. It's it's an anime from
so many robot.
I'm not going to do a throwback on this. I'm just going to say it's like an anime that came out 20 years ago and was remade also 20 years ago. And it's just about that. They have a bunch of robot servants in like Japan or whatever. And then they all like get self-aware and like but then it's like an anime, so for some reason they also mutate, which is not explained at all, but whatever.
Sure.
You know? It's like Resident Evil in that way. They're like, okay,
instead of going
robot is now an octopus.
Instead of going to see Batman v Superman, you and Ben should just watch Ex Machina together and like.
I agree with that. I've been wanting to watch
the rise of our robot overlords and the fall of man. I think you guys would enjoy that, but you could also go see a shitty Batman movie. That's fine.
Or watch a shitty Terminator movie again. The last one that came out was like really bad, but we don't need to talk about that.
I don't want to talk about it. It's
the one with Daenerys in it.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I'm not going to see it. Anyway, so there's some casting things that Macy Williams is getting a thing in. X-Men.
Well, they haven't confirmed it, but I guess they started casting the New Mutants film, which I'm super excited about if it goes through, because the New Mutants was like the first like generation of like kid students at Xavier's Mansion besides Kitty Pryde,
which is something that they're like doing now because the next movie has kids and they're like,
I'm really interested to see how things are going to go after this next movie, but that's a different topic. But Macy Williams was cast as Wolfsbane, and this other girl, and Anya Taylor-Joy was cast as Magic, and she actually looks like Magic, so hopefully like that's an official casting.
The girl who was in The Witch, right?
Yes.
And she was really good in that, so she'll be great as whatever she wants to do in life.
Pretty much. And you know, I really hope New Mutants happens, because it's just, I mean, going back to that
it'll happen.
Lila Cheney.
It might not have this specific casting. This might be a rumor, but the movie will happen. People will throw their money at X-Men forever. Yeah,
that Lila Cheney music video that we were talking about like weeks ago with the New Mutants, like that's exactly how they were like. So if they did something like that, it could be a fun, good movie in that way. They probably won't, because it's Fox and they keep fucking it up, but whatever.
Well, I don't think that's true. I think that they understand that people will continue throwing money at X-Men, and they will continue collecting that money.
Yeah, and we're like gonna willingly give them that money, even though we're like mad about it.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to support movies if I really think they're gonna be bad. Case in point, Batman v Superman. But sometimes I'm a stereotype, and I have to go see something. Even I do like most of the X-Men films. It just the ones that are bad are like really bad. I know. Poor X-Men. Anyway, so was there anything else that you like super wanted to mention? Do you want to talk about this Resident Evil thing, Ryan?
Yeah, real quick,
you do.
Yeah, there's okay.
So every time there's anything to do with Resident Evil,
I have to talk about it.
Still, Ryan is the one Resident Evil fan who's like still doing it.
And I'm still like pretending to make out with Wesker and Leon, you know.
I gave up on all of that stuff. I have not played any of the new Resident Evils.
You know, honestly, I mean, they're the same thing over and over again.
After 5, I was like, all right, bye.
I mean, they're still great in the way that they have a bunch of awesome female and male characters that are like, they're pretty equal, but anyway, that's not what I'm getting to. They announced a third CG movie, which it's like, I mean, obviously people are into the games and movies if they're still able to fund and produce a third CG movie, and nobody has even seen the other two except for like maybe me. But it's going to star Leon again.
Movies like really popular in other countries, because I feel like nobody in America even cares about Resident Evil besides you, of course.
But you know, it's like they keep on making those terrible Resident Evil movies in America with like
I think
Mia Jovovich.
Do like those, and there's only I think one more of those happening. But those are just like mindless action movies. It's sort of a different genre than like a CG movie.
Well, the thing is that like Ben has I can't even talk. Ben has a good point about this, where he was talking about how Resident Evil has a very dedicated fan base, but they're not no, but it's like people like me that's of this like goth era from like the early 2000s and late 1999, but like they're not getting like new fans, you know, like there aren't new people joining the Resident Evil fan base community. So eventually we're all going to get old and die out. So
I know. And that is too bad, because they've just kind of been capitalizing on the people who are like, I guess I still want to see Wesker turn into Akira. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. So
like, again, I'll see that a few more times. Sure.
But yeah, the CG movie is it's going to feature Leon again. And it showed him with like some sort of crazy motorcycle. So fingers crossed we'll get some Claire action in there. So
that's would be cool. I mean, I think the CG movies, like in terms of Resident Evil stuff that's come out, have been pretty good, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they've been better than the actual American films, which is not hard to do.
Well, the American films don't really have anything to do with Resident Evil. Like they're just not. They have like some parallels, but they're not really the same.
Right. I mean, they're just sort of like, they're
cool
like,
action movie.
No, I always put it this way. They're like, if somebody could make a movie that was actually a fan fiction, that's exactly what the Resident Evil movies are, because they're just totally ridiculous. And they take characters and make them do terribly ridiculous things and have ridiculous dialogue that you would only see in a fanfic.
Yeah, but that's fine. Fan fiction rules. So
I know. I'm just saying, like, that's what it is. You have to approach it being like, I'm watching a fanfic on screen. I mean, there's literally a Mary Sue character.
Is her name Mila Jovovich?
Mm-hmm.
And she plays herself.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. We have reader mail.
Yeah, so we actually, I mean, it's not, there's no questions. It's just,
comments. Why is your show so bad? Why does it start 15
it's actually, it's you know, Taylor, who has sent us a whole bunch of questions about the comic books, and I think he also was the one. Yeah, I think he also was the one that asked about the periodic table. I could be wrong about that. But he just wanted to say, hi, Maddy and Ryan. Thanks for the comics advice last week, and sorry for unwittingly pulling you back into the superhero spiral. I wanted to thank you for talking about the small stuff in your life. I work in a sign shop, and I'm left to my own devices most of the time, so it's honestly comforting to hear how you've been and what you've been doing every week. And he goes, I can also confirm that you've gained a listener, and who knows, he might even write in. Keep on keeping on.
Going strong with like 12 listeners.
Although I appreciate that he reached out to us and told us that he likes hearing about the small stuff, because that's the part that you're always like, I don't think people want to.
I don't know if people care, but if people tell us that they do, that makes me feel good, because
I see, and that's
trying to be funny and entertaining even when we're
right. But I'm also always saying, I think, people want to see the human sides of us other than just what they know of, especially you, or like Maddy Myers is a journalist,
like 15 minutes of it before it's like, okay, Maddy and Ryan, how long are you going to talk about like a breakfast food that you ate once in your life or whatever? I don't know.
Speaking of recipes, that's all we have for reader mail. So we just have Skye's.
Okay. Wait, are we skipping ahead to that? Ryan, how dare you skip this important throwback?
Oh my God, you're right.
I
went out of order. Holy shit! I totally forgot.
Skye's recipe corner goes at the end of the show, Ryan.
We close with Skye's recipes.
First, we need to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Excuse me.
I like how you're like, Ryan. And earlier you were like, Ryan, can we talk about this? I was like, no.
I know you keep being like, nope, we're actually not going to talk about it. You just made yourself watch this terrible thing yesterday for hours, and you're like, I actually don't want to discuss this experience.
Okay. It's funny too, because I was amping it up on Twitter for like the past 24 hours. So let's go. So
yeah. We can't even. There's a musical. There's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles musical called Coming Out of Our Shells.
It's technically a rock show.
But it was on Broadway. It was off Broadway. We should know. It
was
but we don't know.
A traveling Broadway show.
Children's show. It's for kids, and kids were in the audience of the taping that is available on YouTube in full.
Yep.
So you should watch it.
Yep.
You should watch it, and you should feel sad that you didn't have this as a child, because that's the only age at which you would have appreciated.
I mean, we appreciate it from the aesthetic of doing similar shows.
I would have loved this as a kid, but as an adult, it is so funny, because
it's like, it's really, it's ridiculous, but it's aimed for children.
It's a fucking gold mine.
Okay, we haven't explained what this is. Like,
we're just like, so it's about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles decided to be a rock band, and so they start playing rock
it wasn't
songs.
Like deciding, because I rewatched it yesterday, and they literally have like Splinter be like, the power of music is stronger than any type of super strength or fighting. So
so Splinter tells them to become a rock band. Sure.
Yeah, and Splinter also has a song where he stands around and sings about skipping rocks.
Splinter sings. He sings about like meditating and
he does like
rocks.
Modern dance. It's really weird. He looks like a possum.
It's a puppet. It's a like rat puppet that a person's wearing, because of course it is, and it looks terrifying, like all Splinter costumes ever in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Looks as terrifying as they always do. And April sings a song, and she's the only person who had like a successful enough Broadway career that she has a Wikipedia page now. Nobody else in this show did. Or they won't acknowledge that they did this show.
Nobody's gonna like look it up afterward either. So,
well, Ryan Googled everyone, so I
was honestly curious what happened to these people after the Broadway show.
This multiple times.
And every single time we like text and write to each other and scream about it for like 45 minutes.
It's not good, but we can relate to it because we've like done so many bad musicals that like, you can tell that it was really fun, but also really stupid, and in like the best way. And so there's like, they start out with the Turtles singing this song called Coming Out of Our Shells, because that was the name of the tour.
Which is actually, in retrospect, a really weird title that they're like, we're coming out.
Yep.
And then they also have a song about go straight, which like, I think like don't do drugs.
I don't think any of that was intentional.
I think it was like,
there's all these queer references, and I'm like, Ryan, no, it's not.
It wasn't that. It was definitely like a don't do drugs type of thing.
Yeah,
but they were also like the entire time be like, we eat pizza to power up. And I'm like, it sounds like you're on drugs, Michelangelo.
No, like they're so obsessed with pizza that it's like, what's in the pizza, guys? Like, are you
like,
okay?
More so than the TV show, because they keep on screaming pizza for no reason throughout the show.
I know. It's like every adaptation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is just like, they don't. I don't know. They get so obsessed with pizza that it's like that's the only character trait that the turtles have. Do you know what I mean? It's like they can't.
Well, you know,
with
they want
anything
kids to eat pizza, a very healthy entree.
Yeah, I don't know.
So anyway, it's basically a bunch of people in these puppet costumes like they were in the live action movie, except now they're on stage and they're also glammed out. They have like stars on their eyes and like they have like a guitar.
They're rock stars. So one of them has a guitar and one of them has a guitar.
A guitar and a bass. Somebody has like
play the drums, I don't think.
No. They say that one of them was on the drums, but it was like a synthesizer drum. So it was like yeah.
So there's like multiple guitars kind of a thing.
Yes. They all have like random guitars. And it's such a weird show. I mean, it's aimed for children, and like Shredder comes up with like this weird.
Shredder shows up, and they have to kind of make him not scary, which is hard because he is scary.
Okay, do you like put a giant? It's like a giant purple upside down moon on his forehead.
Yeah, they make him like very over the top, and the actor who plays Shredder is like doing a great job of interacting with the kids in the audience, but like there's so many parts in this show where it seems as though there's an extended improvisational section to kill time, and it's not clear what they're killing time to accomplish. Like Shredder comes out and talks to the audience for like 20 minutes at one point, and it's so clear that he's improvising.
Oh my god. And he also sings a song about how he hates music.
He sings a song about how he hates music.
So he's already like failed in his mission.
He's already screwing up again.
But then he comes up with like some weird thing that I can't remember what it was called. It was like something like deharmonizer, where he was going to steal music from the world. So there was no more music. But then April also lost her voice inexplicably. Like I guess she only could sing and can't talk.
Yeah, she can't. Yeah, you're right. That doesn't make any sense. So he uses his machine to take away April's voice because Little Mermaid. I don't know. It doesn't matter. April gets kidnapped. April gets kidnapped immediately because this is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show, so she has to get kidnapped.
I don't even know. Like I rewatched it, and I like can't even understand if she got kidnapped or she just walked into the lair and then like didn't leave. Like it's not really clear to me.
She gets like tied to something, but you're right that
she's like walking around.
She
like
doesn't need to be there. She's like somebody uses an extension cord to like tie her to something, and then she's still like kind of able to walk around because she's like tied to it, but it's like a leash kind of. You know what I mean? She's sort of like, well, I guess I'm stuck in this set, but I can't. I don't know. I'll sing a song or whatever.
Oh, she does have a really long song. She's like, the turtles will come and save me, or like something ridiculous.
It's
all the songs are like really ridiculous. I mean, they're aimed for children. It is a full house, by the way. Like there's like there's a ton of kids. There's so many people, and they're all screaming. Like the part where Shredder's talking for like 45 minutes. So many
adults who are like, I can't believe I'm here physically. Like,
I know.
Can you imagine?
I mean, everybody, the target audience was like 8 and under.
Yeah, or like 6 and under. Like it is really simplistic. There's not a ton happening plot-wise.
My favorite part of the whole thing is Shredder is like, do you want me to explain how this machine works? And the audience is like, no! And he's like, well, I'm not going to tell you anyway. Ha ha ha, yes I am. And like...
And he's just like making it up. Like it's so obvious that a lot of the stuff here is being made up.
I mean, that's
kind of why we liked it, because we've done shows that are sort of like this.
Yeah, that's like half a musical and then also half an improv show. So like that's exactly what it felt like. And there were also like segments where there was an additional news reporter who wasn't April O'Neil. Who went out like during intermission or something, and they filmed him like talking to random cast members. Do you actually know where the turtles are? Shredder's taking over. All these kids are like, get away from me, dude. So then it like cuts to him like walking around on like the catwalk backstage.
Like for some reason, this other news reporter who's not April gets to do all this investigative journalism, and it's like, why didn't you put April in this role? It's weird. So he's like walking around backstage, being like, oh no, look at all these theatrical set pieces.
No, he was like, okay, and he's got like, he's holding like one of the prop swords that they sell at like the concession stand for the show, and he's like batting at some wires, screaming snakes.
Like he thinks the wires are snakes. But it's weird because it's like, are we acknowledging that this is a play? Like, but it's for children, so nobody really is thinking about that.
Well, so on this VHS that it's like ripped off of, there's like a behind the scenes feature right afterwards, which they're all in character, and they're like, it's like this agent comes over and he's like, I've done major shows for like Aerosmith and AC/DC, and when I saw Ninja Turtles had formed a rock band, I had to be their like agent.
Right. Sure. So like,
so it goes on for like 30 minutes of that shit. So
framed.
like, I guess there are like, there's layers in this. They also break the third wall a lot for like that. Like for example, that product placement of American Express, where they're like, "Oh, Donnie, how'd you make this machine so fast?" And he's like, "I pulled the magnetic strip off the back of our American Express card," and they all turn the audience and go, "Never leave home without it." And I'm like, what is happening? Like, who is that aimed at? Like, not the 6-year-olds, and definitely not the parents, because the parents are like, "Wow, the turtles told me to go like get an American Express card, so I probably should." Like,
I mean, I think it's like, I don't know. We've written jokes that are that stupid for shows before, where like it was a reference to a commercial that was funny.
We've also had to do the whole product placement thing. Like,
we're not professionals, so it is really funny to like see an actual show that's like, remember this commercial?
I mean, when we filmed, you weren't really part of this, but when we did Catapult at Kineticon, the whole show was just a product placement for Kineticon. So it was just like a bunch of Kineticon announcements with some like funny banter in between, which I guess is exactly what this show was. So
well, yes, but I don't think that American Express paid. I mean, maybe they did. Maybe American Express actually did pay for the show.
They must have been a sponsor.
Really
like
wild.
It would be. I think that's exactly what would have happened. It was the 90s. We had like so much money to spend on stupid shit
that
back
happens
then.
Now. Like, product placement is a huge part of TV. I don't know that it happens on Broadway.
And I don't think it normally happens with them breaking all the walls possible to like talk to audience members.
Well, like, I mean, Wayne's World was the beginning of that joke, right? I mean, it's the beginning of acknowledging it and being like, isn't product placement wacky? And then we continued doing it for years after that.
No, we're still doing it. Like,
yeah.
But I don't know.
But that was the 90s, so.
I mean, this whole show is a great reflection of how fucking wacky the 90s was. And it's like not wacky in the 80s way, where like the 80s was like wacky and clever. Like the 90s is definitely a time just like sheer wackiness that makes no sense at all.
It's also like the kind of thing that I wish would happen now. Like, I wish they would have like a Steven Universe musical that was like really bad but also really amazing, or like, I don't know, like an Adventure Time musical or something.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have anything that like really travels like that anymore. Because remember in the 90s there was also things like Disney on Ice, which was also huge.
Oh my God, yeah.
And they still have it, but like you don't hear about it anymore, where like back then it was like shoved in your face. No, because they used to have like commercials and stuff for this on the regular, but we don't see it anymore because obviously like the only commercials you see is either when you're watching YouTube or like Hulu.
Right.
And so like, you know, we don't really hear about it anymore anyway. But, you know, also we know people that do have kids and they don't take them to this kind of shit. My sister, who has 2 kids, like I think they saw like one Disney on Ice show, but like I've never really seen them talk about anything that's on the same caliber of like this Ninja Turtles like musical rock show, which was a normal thing at that time because there was traveling wacky children's shows back then.
Yeah, children's shows rule.
But this was also at the same time that Nickelodeon was at its peak, and like, you know, Nick had like game shows for kids and like SNL for kids.
Yeah, and they don't really have game shows for kids anymore.
No, I mean, like, if anything, the 90s did really capitalize on what kids wanted to watch.
On a show.
And I mean, they
so cool because as a kid you'd be like, man, what if I was on TV? Because there's all these other people your age, your actual age.
Technically it started in the 80s, but like the 80s was still sort of like a dark time. So like, you know, like everything was like a little weird. And like, I mean, think about it, like things like He-Man and She-Ra, which were aimed for kids, and like the whole toy line was also like this dark as shit story, you know, like
it was like, what if there was a cyberpunk dystopia where an evil robot was kidnapping all your friends?
Yeah, so
you'll be fine though.
So in reflection,
isn't gonna kill us all.
I know it's actually going to be the ScarJo robot that kills us all.
I'm fine with that.
I'm not. I mean, ScarJo is great, but like that's not her.
If actual ScarJo turns out to be a robot and she kills us all, that seems fair to me.
I guess that's just as likely. Anyway, you can find this thing on YouTube. You can find everything on YouTube now.
Yeah, people should look it up and let us know how bad/good it is.
A lot of people do remember this, which is funny because I don't think I remember.
Last time we talked about it, a bunch of people were like, "I watched this as a kid. It's great," and I was like, I was like jealous that other people had watched this as a kid. I had cool stuff as a kid. I like had a bunch of Raffi concerts that I watched.
Oh my God. Raffi Throwback time.
Baby Beluga, man. I love
I know, right? Shit. Oh my god.
But I didn't have like a musical really. I just watched actual musicals like West Side Story and stuff. I definitely watched that as a child and didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah,
Don't
we
worry,
watched a lot of
that was
Cats.
fine.
I didn't
Oh my
understand what's
God,
happening in Cats,
Cats.
but like I still don't understand
Okay,
what's happening in Cats.
nothing to
Nobody does.
There's nothing to understand, Ryan.
I know. Somebody just took it was Angela Lloyd Webber being like, I took a book of poetry about cats and then wrote
The original
music to it.
poem. The original poem is not as long. It's
No,
just
it's
a
not.
short T.S. Eliot poem.
I know. It's
And
a little
Andrew Lloyd
ridiculous.
Webber did a lot of drugs. No, I'm kidding. I don't know if he did.
I mean, I'm assuming he did.
He
Like,
may have.
I mean, why wouldn't
It would
he?
explain a lot about that show. I love Andrew Lloyd Webber, but Cats is, I don't know. I've seen it with Katie on Broadway.
I've seen it with Katie on Broadway too, and I've seen that.
Katie loves Cats.
Why did we all see that movie several times on Broadway? Anyway.
Because Katie loves it.
I like how
and
we're like just
friends
obsessing with like these weird Broadway shows from our childhood right now, and I'm sure nobody else cares.
Everyone cares, and they're gonna
care about Ninja Turtles. I'm pretty sure they don't care about Cats.
They don't. Anyway, let's do
Cats is like a joke at this point.
Let's do recipes, and then I have to go.
Okay. So I guess the lead today on Skye's cooking corner is bacon.
Yeah, because I talked about bacon last week.
So I don't know what my rebuttal to this is going to be yet, but we'll read Skye's first.
They do make vegetarian bacon, you know.
I don't like bacon even when I wasn't a vegetarian, so I have no desire to eat it.
Completely different. Do you just not like crispy food?
No, I don't know why I don't like the taste of it. Like, I just don't.
I promise vegetarian bacon doesn't taste the same.
Probably not. Well, it could because we don't know what the fuck is in regular bacon. Like, come on. Anyway.
Ham? It's just ham. You're like, what is it? I'm suspicious.
I got confused. I thought I meant hot dogs.
Oh.
All right, anyway, let's read Skye's thing. All right. Historically, bacon has played an important part in internet culture, although today it has largely been replaced by Soylent as a meme food. Fitting since we definitely live in an authoritarian nightmare.
It's true. We do.
Oh my god. I like how when Skye makes me laugh when I'm in the middle of reading her sentence and then it's over.
I know.
Okay. Right. At any rate, Skye's number one tip for bacon success is this. Start with bacon in a cold pan. Cook on medium heat, using taunts to flip the strips every few minutes, and then remove the strips from heat and place on a plate covered with a cut-up bag or paper towel before they look completely done the way you like it. The grease will continue to cook the bacon after it's removed from heat, so if you take it out of the pan right when it looks like the way you like it, it will actually get crispier than your ideal. So, fun fact if you don't know how to make bacon the right way, which I'm guessing a lot of people probably don't.
I didn't for a while, but I recently figured that out because I've started making bacon, and she's right. You have to take it out before it looks ready.
Yep.
But I didn't really think about why.
And then we have Skye's joke corner. So get ready.
Get ready for us to not get it.
I was going to say for us to miss the joke. All right. The problem is that I have to deliver the jokes, and maybe I should really just have you do it.
You should make me do it, but it's way funnier this way. Okay, go.
We're going to do this just for
Ryan, no. Are you giving up? Are you sending it to me?
I'm gonna put it in the chat box here, and you're gonna read it. It's your turn.
Well, people should write in if they're angry about this, because I am. I think Ryan should have to read these because it's funny.
All right, fine. I will read it. Okay. I like how I just gave it anyway. I was like, fine. All right. Clear his throat. Do you two remember when Newsweek declared 2014 as the transgender tipping point because of Laverne Cox was in a TV show? Well, I do.
Yeah, that was enough. Thanks, Laverne. You finally did it. I love her.
I think we can all agree they called it way too soon given the current political climate. Climate. Oh my god, that's not even part of the joke. I just like that.
You're just like, wow, climate has an A in it. I didn't know that. All right.
I can't really blame them for calling it so early, though. My personal transgender tipping point is 2 beers, sometimes less.
That's amazing.
That was really good. I liked that.
I like that a lot. I actually feel like they should have called it way earlier. That's just me.
Oh my god. I'm sorry in advance if something gets screwed up because I just accidentally opened Premiere, so now a bunch of shit's opening on my computer.
Okay, so Ryan has to go. Wait,
No,
do you have a recipe?
I was gonna say, all right, what would be a good rebuttal? We've done breakfast many times, so I guess I'm gonna go since we're talking bacon and everybody loves bacon and
Ryan doesn't know what it is.
no, it's a hot dog, clearly.
I don't want to make fun of you for that. I know
No,
you're
you can't.
It was
really stupid. So that's like one of my brain parts.
They're both like pork products, and you don't eat any of that shit, so it's fine. You don't need to know what it is.
Well, so as somebody that like has to go and visit my parents who are heavy meat eaters, and they always have to like make a different entree if I'm visiting.
Right, and complain about it.
Yeah, I mean, they usually make like lasagna or order a pizza. They like don't, I mean, like, you know, it's Italian, it's so easy. But like in the morning, they're always like, okay, we're gonna like make breakfast, and which breakfast is like for them is like some eggs and then like plates of bacon. So
that's kind of what my breakfast is, although usually it's like eggs and toast.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess like when I'm put in that situation when I'm like everybody's eating a ton of bacon, I just eat a ton of something else. And usually at that time, it will be like additional eggs or toast. But something that I really, really, really love that is just as good as bacon is also a good breakfast side food is fucking hash browns. Like fried hash that doesn't have any like meat in it because people will mix that shit in there too. Hash is really fucking good. Like I mean,
it's fried. I mean, that's why people.
I mean, I'm obsessed with potatoes anyway. So like, it's
like fried in oil. Like that's literally what's good about bacon is that it's like a crispy food that's fried in oil.
Right, and like
you can actually fry anything.
Yeah. So like hash browns and potatoes are like home fries, which is normally just like potatoes that are then like fried and are with your breakfast food. Like that is like my go-to for a side if everybody else in the world is eating bacon. So
yeah, that's I love hash browns. I haven't made hash browns in a long time. I'll talk about a different thing. So we have like a cast iron skillet that you have to take really careful care of and like not wash.
Oh, no, I know. I just fun fact, I got one of those for Christmas a few years ago and immediately washed it and ruined it. So
great. Okay, well, you could cook some hash browns in it a few times, and that would probably help actually, because you have to.
I think Ben did do something like that, but
he probably did. But you could do it too. So we've just been slowly making it better and better, and that is what I cook bacon in. But it's also what I cook, lots of other things in. And I guess, we made burgers last night with it, and they were really good. So if you want to make burgers and you're like
first sided during your breakfast.
Well, you don't have. I'm talking about dinner because you were like,
no,
we talk about breakfast too much, and then you talked about breakfast. So whatever, Ryan. Whatever. I'm talking about dinner.
I'm over here like drinking my cereal, so sorry.
It's fine. Anyway, we don't have a grill because we don't have a yard because we live in a multifamily. And
yeah, same. I really wish we had a grill though.
There's not really like room for a grill. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is, we have to make everything on a cast iron skillet. So you can make steaks on a skillet. You can make hash browns on the skillet. You can make burgers on a skillet, like anything that you would normally make like grilled outside, do on a skillet. So that's really awesome.
That's actually a good tip to know because I really love BBQ foods. Ben does not. I love barbecue though, and to know that there's like another way to do that without buying like an indoor grill.
Barbecue, I mean, you can make it that way, but usually for barbecue, we cook stuff in the oven, like in a covered pan, because then it stays moist. But that's more of a problem for meat. For you, you could probably do whatever the fuck you want. You don't have to worry about veggies.
Honestly, like whenever it's a barbecue and we can cook outside on the grill, I mean, we eat veggie burgers, which just throw on there and like they heat up immediately. So what we're getting from it is like a smoky taste, which is what I like.
I mean, it's less of a concern now, unless it is, but it's supposed to not be cold anymore. But when it is cold and you don't want to cook outside, cooking in a skillet is great.
I like your like, this is not a problem anymore. There's still, we had a blizzard the other day. I don't know why.
Around here, there's snow outside.
Yeah, like it was supposed to be like 60 this week, and I was at the beach 2 weeks ago, and now it's like fucking snowing. So great, thanks New England. Fuck you. Yeah, all right.
My cooking advice to everyone is to get a cast iron skillet. That's like the best advice. It really turned our
wash it properly and don't fuck it up like I did.
Yeah, Google how to wash it.
Watch a YouTube video. Follow us here on this channel. And you can also check out our home base channel, which is Atomic Blue Productions, also on YouTube. And you can find us on Twitter at Dr. Yoshi2 and Samus Clone. And you can also find Atomic Blue on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And go to our website and iTunes, which, by the way, if anybody is looking for episode 11, it's now up on there. We don't know what happened, but now episodes 1 through 3 are missing. So I don't know what's going on with iTunes. And I keep on emailing them, be like, can you fix this? Because they're in the RSS
feed. You know what I would recommend? Please subscribe to the podcast via the RSS feed on our website and use a different service other than iTunes to subscribe to it.
Because iTunes kind of sucks.
Because I have a different RSS reader and I'm subscribed to our website and it works. So,
and everything's there. So iTunes
fucking sucks.
As we go and put this up on iTunes.
But also it is on iTunes. It is on iTunes. So if you want to subscribe on there, it's fine. But if you want to listen to episodes 1 through 3, you can't on iTunes. I'm sorry. I don't know why, but you can.
Allegedly will reappear. Who knows? It's like fucking magic.
Will they? Will they? All right.
I don't know. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.